Hello and welcome to this short tutorial about extruded text bevel customization. I covered this subject in tutorial 55, but it was buried deep within the tutorial, which covered the whole subject of extruded text. So I thought I'd resurrect the subject and give it a tutorial of its own. You may be satisfied with the many styles to be found in the Extrusion Styles window, but Title Studio allows you to design your own. Complex bevels can be created along with customized side profiles. I'm using Title Studio within Continuum 2022. Your UI may be different. I'll make a start by adding an extruded text string. Customized bevels are best viewed at an angle, so I'm going to tumble the scene. It's also desirable to zoom into the composite window to enlarge the text. Now I'll increase the extrusion and existing bevel to give me some room to create the custom bevel. Don't worry about the size of the bevel. I've just done this to make the custom bevel easier to see. After the bevel is created, the bevel parameters can be reduced if needed. Now to customize the bevel. To do this, I'll select the bevel type drop-down list and select Custom. When I do this, a track labelled Custom Bevel is added to the Shape Track entries. You'll also notice that the bevel has changed to a default preset bevel type. The custom bevel is created by drawing it a spline object within the composite window. To do this, I select the Custom Bevel entry. I then select the Pen tool. With the Pen tool selected, I'll draw a straight horizontal line between two cusps. As you can see, the default custom bevel has changed into a straight one. This is because the spline is straight. Things start happening when I move the end of the spline around. Don't forget to move a cusp with the pen tool. The spline must turn yellow before you click on the cusp. Moving the cusp upwards creates an external bevel. Moving it below horizontal creates an internal bevel. Two more types of straight bevel can be produced if the cusp is moved past 12 o'clock in an anti-clockwise direction, and if it's moved past 6 o'clock in a clockwise direction. Now, to create a custom bevel profile, you need to manipulate the spline. For now, I'll just introduce one extra cusp in the middle of the spline. To do this, hover the pen tool over the spline where you want the cusp. Then, when the spline changes to yellow, press Alt and then click. This will create a smooth point with Bezier handles. but at this point I don't want a smooth point. To change it to a cusp point, first make sure that the smooth point is selected. It'll be red when it's selected. Go to Tools on the main toolbar and select Cusp Points. The Bezier handles will disappear. Now I'll move the centre cusp point upwards. You can see that there's now a double bevel, internal and external. We still have a double bevel, but their positions have been changed over, external and internal. I'll now change the cusp point into a smooth point. There's not much change, but if you look closely, you'll see a slight concave curvature of the bevels. This is because the spline curve is gradual. Now I'll move the smooth point upwards. The slight curvature has become convex. So that's with one smooth point between the two end cusps. I'll change the smooth point back into a cusp point. This has changed the bevel into a straight one. Now I'll introduce another cusp point. I don't want a smooth point yet, so I'll change it into a cusp point. With the smooth point selected, I can press U as an alternative to go into the Tools option. I'm now going to move this cusp point about and see what happens. As you can see, a second bevel has been created. I've now created an embossed bevel. You can see this better if I tumble the scene some more. Now to introduce another cusp point. We now have 4 bevels. Let's see what happens if I change all the cusp points into smooth points. To select all cusp points, hover the mouse pointer over any part of the spline, and when it turns yellow, hold Shift down and click. All the cusp points will now be red, indicating that they are selected. Now I can go to the Tools option and select Smooth Points. or I can simply press Y. All the bevels are now curved instead of straight. I think that's enough about custom bevels. You can see that with a little effort you can get exactly the kind of bevel structure you want. Custom contours. Changing the contour of an extruded object alters the profile of the extrusion from the front to the back. By default this is straight, but you can customize this in the same way bevels are. First select the shape track entry. Now go to the extrusion contour drop-down list and select Custom. As with the custom bevel setting, an entry will be created. This entry will be labelled Custom Side Profile. Select that entry. Now select the pen tool and draw a straight horizontal spline object. Unlike with the custom bevel spline, rotating this spline has little effect on the side profile. Again, things start happening when I introduce another cusp. Now I'll move the centre cusp point upwards and see what happens. As you probably guessed, the centre of the side profile is lifted. If I move it down, the centre will move below the extrusion. I'll now change the centre cusp point into a smooth point. We now have a nice curved side profile. Now I've created my custom extrusion, I can reduce the extrusion and bevel parameters to a suitable value. I'll set them at default and see how it looks. Obviously, depending on the complexity of your bevel design, you may lose some detail when you reduce these values. You need to experiment with these values until you get the look you want. Once you're satisfied, you can save this extrusion style. To do this, you select the Extrusion Styles window. If the tab isn't there, go to Window in the main toolbar and select Extrusion Styles. With the Extrusion Style window open, select the drop-down arrow and select Custom Contours if it's not already showing. When the Custom Contours window opens, select the Save Current Style icon. A dialog box will appear prompting you to name the extrusion style. Do it and click OK. Your custom extrusion style will be added. Now, whenever you want to apply that style to an extrusion, simply open up the Extrusion Styles window and select Custom Extrusion. With the Shape Track entry selected, double-click the custom style to apply it to the extrusion. Note that you can apply a custom extrusion style to any extruded object. It doesn't have to be text. That's how to customize your extrusions. There are a number of extrusion presets you could use in the Extrusion Styles window, but where's the fun in that? How complex and elaborate your custom extrusion style is depends upon your creativity and patience. As always, thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Until the next time, bye for now.